Hello guys and welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I'm going to be going over atoms, elements, compounds and mixtures. This is hopefully a new set of videos that I'll be making for all of my followers and subscribers so that they can check back here and catch up on any GCSE chemistry content that they need. I hope that this series will be useful, and comment below the next topic that you want me to do. So let's start today's video. To begin with, comment down below what you think an atom, element, compound and mixture is, and then at the end, check your comment to see if you were right. What we have is an atom, and an atom is the smallest part of an element that can exist. The key thing to point out here is that it is the smallest part of an element that can exist. Although you can find smaller subatomic particles within it, the smallest part of an element is an atom. Now pause the video and see if you can write the definition of an atom. And here it is back on screen, the smallest part of an element that can exist. I hope that you got that right. Let's move on to an element. An element is probably more commonly known as something off the periodic table. However, we also need to know that an element is a substance that contains only one type of atom and cannot be broken down any further. This means is that we can have a hydrogen element, and that does not contain any oxygen or any other element on the periodic table. The key point to know here is that it is only one type of atom. Now, as you did for the last one, see if you can recall the definition of an element in the comments below and check your answer now. The answer is a substance that contains only one type of atom and cannot be broken down. The definition that we will look at is a compound. If you already know the definition for what a compound is, then write it in the comments section below now. I'll tell you the definition, check if you got it right. So a compound is a substance that contains two or more elements chemically bonded together. And this basically means that there are chemical bonds between each of the elements in the atom that link them all together. The key part of this definition to note down is that it is two or more elements and that they are chemically bonded together. And this is not to get confused with the next definition that I'm going to go over, which is a mixture. Now I'm going to cover up the definition and see if you can comment it below. And the answer is that it is a substance that contains two or more elements that are chemically bonded together. The final thing that I will be covering today is mixtures. Now, a mixture is quite similar in definition to a compound. However, the key thing to note between them is that a mixture is two or more substances that are not chemically bonded together, whilst a compound is two or more substances that are chemically bonded together. And this is a very important definition to know. I'm sure that you can now probably guess what I'm going to do, and that is cover the screen and comment your answer below. And here is the definition again. A mixture is a substance that contains two or more substances not chemically bonded together. And it's key that you remember the difference between these two definitions. The next important thing to know is some examples of each of these things. It is obviously amazing that you know the definitions. However, if you don't really understand the concept, then there's no point of knowing the definitions. Otherwise, you will not be able to answer any exam question that is thrown at you. So, some examples of atoms are sodium, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and chlorine. These are all elements that you can find on the periodic table, and all atoms are elements that are off the periodic table. It is important that we recognise that everything on the periodic table is an atom. And another quick thing to note is that all atoms are hardly ever found just by themselves. And when I say this, I mean that atoms are found in billions. It is due to their small size that they are usually found in billions and trillions, bunched up together to form a solid, a liquid or a gas. You will never even be able to imagine the size of one tiny atom. The next examples we're going to look at is an element. Some examples of an element include any atom off the periodic table. Now, I briefly covered this already, however, I'll make sure that I re-say it because it is an important fact. This would mean that all of the atoms that I have stated above are all elements as well, due to the fact that they are all elements on the periodic table. The next thing that we will look at are examples of compounds. The first example that I'm sure you're all aware of is H2O, or more commonly known as water. Another common compound is NaCl, sodium chloride, also known as table salt. The final one that I'm sure you've all heard of again is CO2, which is carbon dioxide. And these are all common examples of compounds. They are all chemically bonded, as I'm going to show you with this water molecule. In this example, you can see that the oxygen molecule, which is in group 6, bonds to two hydrogens, which are both have one electron in their outer shell. This means that the oxygen and hydrogen atoms share their electrons in order for them all to gain full outer shells. The final examples that we are going to look at are examples of mixtures. Some examples include salty water, the air around us, and sodas or fizzy drinks. These are all known as mixtures, which are two or more elements which are not chemically bonded, so they're kind of all jumbled up together. I hope that this all makes sense so far. We've gone over an atom, element, compound and mixture. Finally, I've got 2 practice questions for you to do. This is to see if you've retained the knowledge that you've learnt during this lesson. The first question is, what is an element? And the second one is, give an example of a mixture. So see if you can answer these questions by pausing the video and commenting below. And once you've commented your answer, unpause the video to check if you were right. So, the answer to what is an element is a substance that consists of one type of atom and that cannot be broken down any further. Did you get this right? If so, well done. If not, don't worry, you can always watch the video again. And if you don't understand anything, comment below and I will try my best to explain it to you down there. Now, move on to the second part of the question, and this says, give an example of a mixture. So, the first example is salty water. The second example is soda. Also talked about the air, however, there are lots and lots of different mixtures that you could possibly have thought of. So if you thought of any others, comment them below and I'll tell you if you were right or not. So that is the end of today's video. I hope that you now understand the difference between an atom, element, mixture and compound. I also hope that you feel confident enough that you can answer any question thrown at you in an exam about these 4 topics. Like and subscribe if you found this video helpful, and I hope to see you all back here soon. Thank you for watching and goodbye.